Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday morning trading room. Sorry about yesterday. Technology is great when it works. And it was a shame that I couldn't trade yesterday because yesterday, well, it was a huge rally day right out of the open. And the market settling in during the afternoon, but huge gains to start the day. Volume is light, though. That's always a concern. That tells me that as we're approaching the contract highs or the whole 8,000 region, that buyers are not that anxious to participate. What will be interesting to see is if we can break 8,000, if there will actually be an increase in volume. That will tell me that the breakout is likely to continue. So a little something to keep a lookout for. Taking a look now at the NASDAQ in the overnight, and you can see fairly range bound, a little bit of a breakdown now to the short side. A quick little overview. I see there's a couple new names in the room here this morning. Welcome. Please don't be shy to ask questions. What you're looking at is the complete diversified trading system along with the Raptor and the Bollinger Band suite. So here on the top left, I have the Hawk Scalper, top right, Falcon Swing Trader, bottom left, Eagle Trend Trader, and then the Raptor here on the bottom right. And at the bottom of each chart, I've also added the Bollinger Band suite. The market I'm following is the NASDAQ, but I would be happy to show you other markets if you are interested. I have to confess, though, I've dropped a lot of markets from my data feed just because I wasn't watching them any longer. Okay, so do we have any signals here yet? Not really. We're just kind of sorting ourselves. And I suppose that's normal. All right. Back now to the hard edge. This, of course, where we anticipate a reaction. Oh, actually a pretty good reaction. That was our first in-sync eagle signal as well. Got a little bit of a pullback mode going on. This may develop into a bit of a sideways range. Retesting once again. The market, I don't know if I want to call it bullish yet. These tests of the extreme, when you see these, it's always so tempting to get bullish because what it's showing you is a market that's not really interested in heading lower. Could shoot a trend line down here because a retest of the trend line, not out of the question. Okay, a little bit of a trend line break. This is a lot of times when we see the sellers push back. And if they do, we're going to have a pretty good rule of three signal that we can try to buy higher. In fact, let's see if we got any corresponding signals. Well, we do. We've got a trend change signal here on the Falcon. And what I would do is look to take it above this bar here. That would be my signal bar. So we've got the trend change. We've got the test of the extreme. We've got hints that the market may try to go higher. Okay, here we go now with the trend line touch signal. I think the Raptor is probably going to be producing, well, we're producing an early cloud cross signal on the Raptor. Okay, so we got brought in. Let's see if we can rally up now to our profit objective. Okay, good to know. Ray says, good morning, Eric. Well, I'm glad you were able to fix your charts that were not loading properly for you, because now your charts agree with mine. Well, that's always good. What's going on right now is the market is struggling for a trend, struggling for direction. So that's why we're seeing a little bit of a pullback. It may get deeper still, may get down to that trend line. We saw a little bit of a break now. Sellers push back, which is expected. Or should be. Somewhere through here, I think the Raptor is going to be producing a proper number one signal. Not quite yet. Cloud's not fully crossed just yet. They're trying. You see they got a little bit more bullish here. We've got the pullback. As they unwind and go higher, a number one signal will print, providing, of course, they go higher. They're struggling a bit at the moment. When the market is changing direction, it's always difficult. You're always having to give the market a little extra room to turn, kind of like turning a big truck around. Good question here from Aspen. Aspen asks, are you not concerned if the price breaks the last low, it may go down more? So I think what Aspen is asking, if price breaks this swing right here, am I not concerned that it may go lower? Well, yes, of course, but the market is constantly testing price limits, right? It's looking to attract buyers or sellers. So if it gets below here, below this price swing, it will attract buyers and sellers. Do we know who's going to come out on top yet? No, not on top, or not yet. But note, we got the same kind of thing going on here. We're testing the trend line, and all of a sudden we've attracted more buyers, because there are buyers watching this trend line and they're saying, yeah, okay, if it gets down to 79.22, I'll buy it. At the end of the day, you're never going to have all the pieces to the puzzle. So you have to do your best to control your risk. That's really the only part of the trading equation you have any control over. It's always a good news, bad news scenario because I know I've got my stops in the right place. If the market breaks these lows way down here, well, then I'm definitely on the wrong side of the trade, and it's definitely time for me to go. You should really think of your stop loss as a parachute. It's your safety net. It's there to keep you from blowing up your account. You know, there's an expression that scared money always loses. Scared money is, you know, the person that takes this signal and puts their stop loss right there. And then as it goes up, it moves its stop loss right here. And, you know, goes up. Okay, well, you can essentially call it a break even. It's not such a bad trade in this case. But what will happen, as you can see, is that very often you will get tagged out prematurely. Now, I've given this trade every opportunity to become profitable. At this point, I think I can probably roll my stops to here. But it's not a loss until it gets hit, is it? Now, that said, you have to trade a way that's comfortable for you. I have a friend, he trades a dozen times a day. He'll get stopped out a dozen times a day for, you know, $20 or $30 because he runs really, really tight stops. He's looking for immediate momentum when he takes a trade. If he doesn't get it, he's fully prepared to take that $20 or $30 stop out. And so I asked him once, why don't you just leave a $300 stop? At the end of the day, it works out the same. Why don't you just leave a $300 stop? But that didn't suit his personality. That didn't suit the way he's wired. But it works for him because when he hits, he'll make, you know, $500 on a trade, and he'll get his money back, his losses back, and turn a profit. Here we go, testing the trend line again. That's not what I want to see because that tells me that the market's in a bit of a sideways range. And I got myself stuck now in a sideways trading range. It's probably because we're retesting the trend line so soon, I would not be surprised to see the trend line break and subsequent stop out. it's not. We're holding our own. I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope for the trade. In fact, if we break down to the short side, I would be open to trying to sell it. Because we've given the buyers every opportunity to take the market higher, and they're not doing so. Sometimes the only good thing about a loss is you know which way the market is likely to go now. So you can see we're going to produce a number one signal here to short. There it is. So I'm going to reverse my position here if I get tagged out. Not something I do very often. Well, buyers haven't totally walked away. I'll set it up like this. Espen says I've got nerves of steel. Well, you know what? Part of it comes with experience. Part of it, I always try to take the mindset that when I take the trade, the money is gone. It's kind of like walking up to the roulette table or playing poker with your friends or whatever. When you put that money down, it's no longer your money. And it's the same with trading. Once you place that trade, you had better be prepared to walk away from however much money you've risked. If you can do that, that takes a whole lot of, I think it takes a whole lot of pressure out of trading. If I know going in that I'm going to potentially lose 300 bucks and I'm okay with that, then take the trade. If you're not okay with that, you don't take the trade and you wait for another opportunity. It's really as simple as that. All right, back-to-back number 3 signals. The only thing I may be doing wrong here is re-entering the market so quickly, because you'll see it better here on the Eagle. If I take it from the low of the morning, this is our sideways trading range, and I would be looking to re-enter inside this range. Why is that a problem? Well, because typically this is where the buyers are, and this is where the sellers are. This is why the better plan is to wait for the market to break out, retest, and then look for a buying or selling opportunity. That is the better way to go. We'll see here in a moment whether the sellers are really going to overrun the buyers, or if I fooled myself. Come on, sellers, give me that break. Look at that, stuck right on the primary support line. Hit it on the number. Well, this now the retest of sorts. So we didn't get a breakout, but we are retesting in a way. So you could look to short below here. You could look for a breakout as an excuse to short this market, and that would be a valid trade. Especially now that you have 2 bars counter. We should see the sellers try to break that low. But I don't know if it's early enough to call this a trend. but there does seem to be a bit of a downward bias, at least according to the Eagle. All right, I'll manage this here from the Raptor. It's a little disappointing we're not getting much follow through when we're getting these breakouts. We've got a little interest going here now. Okay, so we're coming up. We just hit our Eagle target. I'm going to, well, at the very least, get my trade to break even. I'm going to follow any bar that has a bit of a wick to it. Come on, give me this swing. Play nice. There we go. No, not yet. Stinkers. Okay, well, like I said, sometimes the only good thing about a losing trade is that you have a pretty good idea which way the market should go. If it does not want to go higher, then there's a pretty good chance it's going to go lower. Okay, let's see if we get a retest now. And what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for two bullish bars here on my Eagle. That way I can cover the lows. Okay, So the market's starting to work itself in a little bit of a corner. I can put my just in case order to sell below here. And what we're looking at is a retest now of the breakout. So if I can get a couple of bear bars, then I can throw my just in case order to buy above that little swing, and we're going to have the market stuck. The Raptor already with the number 2 signal, the Falcon working a trend change signal. Oh, come on, give me that little bit of a pullback, please and thank you. Okay, we made it back to the hard edge. This is where the breakout occurred originally. Should be a little bit of a pushback coming here. You can see the Falcon now with the warning dots, the trend change signal, first micro macro cross on the hawk. So those two tools already bullish. Doggone it, do I want to throw an order in already? I don't have my counter bars yet. All right. The market's, you know, a nice little rebound here. My concern is this. I'm going to get this kind of thing going on where the market just waffles. It'll bring me into the trade only to reverse and retest. There should be a retest in here somewhere. All right. For better, for worse, let's see what happens. All right, so I'm in at 21. I'm doing this on the eagle, so I'm going to go with an eagle target. We're going to go for the full 10 points. Oh, are they thinking about giving me a test of the extreme? This is why it's advisable to wait for those two counter bars. I guess I should start to take my own advice, hey? Imagine that. All right, we're getting a little bit of a push higher. Not really enough that I can roll my stops just yet. Looking for this swing. All right, here we go. We're going to actually produce a number one signal now. Okay, so this, I would interpret this as an early cloud crossover. You can see the clouds like 75, 80% crossed over. The next signal that prints is essentially a number one signal, even though technically the cloud's not completely crossed. If I can get that number one signal, I may either have to bring in my stops, my exit stop, or sorry, exit stop or profit target. Okay, so there's the early cloud crossover signal, the early number one signal. And we're actually at our swing target. So I'm going to bring the trade to break even. And you know what? I'm not going to, why ask for trouble? So I'm in at 21.75. I want out at 26.75. Well, see, I had my profit. Come on, give me one more push. There we go. You know, when you have a tighter profit objective, your probability of success will go up. It's just a matter of probabilities. Deeper stops, tighter profit targets will always yield higher win ratios. Higher win ratios aren't always the answer, however. You still have to make a decent profit. You can see now we've got the proper number one signal developing. I'm still looking for a little bit of a retest of sorts, so I might entertain the number one signal, but maybe on a second push opportunity. I'm not really sure the buyers are altogether taking control of the market just yet. We'll give them a few more minutes here. All right. Everything's gotten really quiet all of a sudden. Okay, well, after a brief pause, we did continue higher. I would have found my other profit objective, but that's okay. I don't mind taking my profit where I did. And now we're back to the median line where we were earlier. And at this point, I think we can call this an uptrend. I think, the sellers had their chance. They had their chance right here after the breakout from the sideways range to take the market lower, but they didn't. So I think we can call this an uptrend at this point and just look for a buying opportunity. Ideally, a little bit of a pullback, maybe a hard edge bounce. All right, a slight little pushback. Now the bigger question becomes, how hard are the sellers going to push back? Is there going to be enough way here to enough in here to actually try to short it, maybe capture a little bit of a move to the short side before the next rally up? All right, well, we're getting a little bit of a double top going on. Things getting a little quiet here. I'm going to give the room a few more minutes here, but we're going to close it down in about 10 minutes time. Getting a big delivery this morning. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. Let's just say that my wife should not be on Wayfair, or I should buy shares in Wayfair. All right. The problem with this trade is not so much the direction. I'm fairly confident the market will go higher. Rather, stop placement, right? The correct stop is way down here. That I can't afford. So I'm going to have to try to cover around the hard edge. Problem is, as the market tests these highs, there will be a tendency for the sellers to try to push back. So I'll be a little bit more aggressive with my stops. If we can get a couple of bars here in my favor, I'll get my stops up here to break even. Come on, one more bar. You can do it. Okay, close enough. Take it to, all right. I may have been a little bit quick on that, but I can re-enter above this bar. So same plan. Come on. Well, whatever momentum the market had has really fallen off. Like I said, I'm going to have to close down the room here shortly. But if you're going to continue trading today, I think overall the market's going to be bullish. So Any pullbacks, look for an opportunity to buy as the market tries to recover and certainly get back some of yesterday's gains. All right, gang, I'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye for now.